Hello. So it's James. I do lots and lots of videos. I know that lots of you look at my videos and they're all to do with dog breeding, and this video has got nothing to do with dog breeding at all. This is all about Covid-19, coronavirus, and what I think we're missing. So I hope you watch this video, you don't dump out on it now. I know that a lot of you believe in what I say about dogs and you think that I'm kind of pretty in tune with what's going on. And I think I'm in tune with this. So this is why I'm doing this. I am talking to too many of my customers about things to do with dogs, and I'm hearing that they think that this is just all going to blow over and that COVID-19 is not that big a deal. Especially out here in rural America, in the middle of the country, where we're not seeing what's going on in other places. Now, honestly, 2 months ago, when this is all blowing up in China, I buy things from China for my dog product, and it was a big inconvenience for me, but that was it. I wasn't thinking that this was really something that would be in our back door. It was over there. This is not us. This is not America. And then 2 weeks ago, we see this blow up in Italy, and it's like, yeah, but that's Europe. That's not here. No, we're not seeing any of it over here. Well, different tune now, isn't it? We've got New York, we've got California. They've both got huge numbers of infections, and their rate of infection is faster than what we're seeing in Italy. This thing, folks, I know here in the middle of the country you're not seeing it yet, but I promise you that it is just around the corner. Remember, it doubles every 2 days. An infection rate of 1 or 2 people around your area is going to be 10 times that number in a week, and 100 times that number in 2 weeks, and 1,000 times that number in 3 weeks. And then it's a huge problem. So I know you've all seen this. I'm not going to go over this. This is not really what the video is about, but I just want to get the point across here that we are in this rapid increase in the number of infections, and the critical point is the point where we have not enough beds and not enough ventilators to take care of people who are in trouble. And the people who are primarily, the people who are really going to suffer, the people who are over 60 and the people who have compromised immune systems and diabetes and breathing related asthma and those kind of things. Those people are going to get to the point where they are turned away at the hospital and they're going to say, I'm sorry, James, I can't do anything for you, go home. And some of those people are going to go home and die. And this is not, I think about, I talk to people and they say, oh yeah, but we had SARS, we had H1N1, we had West Nile virus, we had Zika. None of this was anything. This is just all blown out of proportion. Wrong. I promise you that you are wrong. If you could go to New York City and go to a major hospital in New York City, you would see the absolute terror that's going on there. It is a terrible situation, and they are totally underwater on this. We have got to get this curve flattened out. And the important thing is for you individually, if you have relatives who are older, you've got parents who are older, you've got somebody that you care about who's over 60, if you want to see them next Christmas, you need to do the right thing. And that is, you've got to socially distance yourself, and you've got to get them to stay in their houses. I will talk in length about what I think that you should do if you're my age here in a little bit. But the important point here is, if you get infected here, you could be in big trouble. If you get infected here, a few months down the road, then there are enough beds, there are enough doctors, there are enough nurses, there are enough ventilators, and there's enough experience with the protocol that you have an extremely good chance that this thing is going to be completely survivable. If you're under 55 and you're in good health, you're probably going to survive it anyway. It's the people like me that we want to try to save. I'm worth saving, folks. I won't do any more dog videos if you don't save me. Remember, they're saying that 50 to 80% of every breathing person on this planet will probably get it until we come up with a vaccine, and that is at least probably a year away and maybe a year and a half. And we see Trump out there talking about things like hydroxychloroquine as being a solution for this. Maybe, but that's just a hope. That's all that is. And so we cannot hang our hat on the idea that there is a magic bullet that's just around the corner. You've got to delay or get away with not getting it until we're out on this side of the curve. Because if you don't, you're going to be in trouble and you'll start losing relatives. So what the heck do you do? I think it's relatively straightforward. I mean, obviously economically this thing is an absolute disaster, but we're in it. I mean, you're going to see everything being shut down in your communities and only essential services being available. Whether you like it or not, it's going to happen. And if it hasn't already happened, I promise you the next few weeks, you will see it happen, even in rural America. So, but the solution to it, the protocol that you have to follow to be safe is relatively straightforward. So remember, the method of transmission of this is not that you sit on a toilet seat. It's really one way it gets into you, through your mouth, through your nose, through your eyes. And when you go out of your house, you have to assume that everybody out there and every surface that you touch potentially has a pathogen on it that's going to infect you. You go outside, it's a beautiful spring day, the birds are chirping, the grass is green, everybody looks happy. Where's the zombie apocalypse? You don't see it. It's there, it's invisible, but you have to treat it like that's exactly what it is. It is anything that you do, touch, or come in contact with when you leave your house potentially has the ability to get you infected, and if it happens here, you could die from it. So what do? Well, you know what to do. They've been telling you all over the place, but I'm going to tell you a little bit more about what I do. The first thing is you do practice social distancing, and you do keep 10 feet away or more from anybody who's outside, because you've got to assume, even if it's little Johnny, that he is infected. You keep away from everybody. The next thing you do is you limit yourself to going to busy places. If you've got to go to Walmart, I suggest that you do curb service. Learn to buy things online. You can still buy things, but just don't go into Walmart. If you can avoid going to Walmart, do. Remember that Walmart today in Western Oklahoma, there's 100 people in there, and there's just one person who's infected. You don't know who it is. Next week, it'll be 10 times as many. So next week, there's 10 people. The week after that, 2 weeks from now, there's 100 people. And a week after that, there's 1,000 people. Almost everybody in there potentially has it. And they've touched every damn thing in that store, from cans of beans to the handle to the door. So you have to not put your hands to your face when you've left your house. I did a video on this. I've marked my fingernails. It reminds me whenever my hands come up that I'm about to do something that I don't want to do. And I'm now pretty well trained on this. When my hands come up, I see the fingernails, I don't touch my face. So the next thing is, if you're out and about, carry a little bottle of sanitizer and just, put a little bit on your hands, and just routinely as you're out and about, just sanitize yourself so that if you inadvertently do touch your face, there's a very good chance that whatever was on your hands is in fact now harmless. So just do that. If you don't have sanitizer, don't touch your face while you're outside. When you get home, you treat your home as though it's a sterile environment. That's the secret to this. You do not let anybody into your house. You and your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, the people that you're living with, that's fine. But you have to assume that anybody else who's going to come into your house, the grandkids, friends, you have to assume that potentially they have been infected and they don't realize it yet, and they're about to infect you. Remember, the period for this thing is, it takes 2 days to 9 days to show symptoms. Most people show symptoms at 5 days, but the spread of this, in 97% of people, show symptoms within 2 days to 9 days. The problem is that if you are an average person and get infected and you show symptoms of 5 days, you were shedding the virus for 2 or 3 days prior to that. And most infections will cause 2 to 3 other people to become infected. That's why this thing gets out of control so quickly. So, outside, don't touch your face. When you get home, open your house door up, go straight to the sink and wash your hands. I remove my shoes, go straight to the sink, wash your hands for 20 seconds, and then I go back with a wipe and I wipe the handle to my house, because I could have inadvertently collected something on my hands and now infected the door handle to my house. But once I've done those things, gone inside, taken my shoes off, washed my hands, my house is sterile, there's nothing in my house that's going to hurt me. If I bring product into my house and it's in hard surfaces like beans, cans of beans and things like that, I have to assume that somebody touched it. So I leave it in a cardboard box, because cardboard doesn't transmit the pathogen very well, in a cardboard box in my garage for the next 10 hours before I bring it into the house. That way, if it's on a hard surface, it's likely that it's killed anything that's there and it now won't infect me. So you've got to remember, anything that comes into your house has to be sterilized, or it has to be left, if it's an inert object, it has to be left for 10 hours before it comes into your house. Your kids, anybody, does not come into your house. Specifically, if you're over 60, you don't let anybody in your house. And so I've got a note up on the door that says, hey, we love everybody and we want to see you. Ring the doorbell and we'll step outside and we'll keep 10 feet away from you, and life is great. You're just not coming in the house because we are worried about getting an infection. And I know it sounds so paranoid, but it's not. It's just common sense. Because remember, folks, you don't want to be caught here. If you're caught here, there's a very good chance you'll be sent home sick and they won't be able to do anything for you. If you're going to get it, you want to get it here. And if we all practice this, there's a very good chance that this thing will die down relatively quickly. Don't subscribe to me, but do tell people about the video, and please send the video to your friends, because I really think that we don't really understand. Number one, a lot of people aren't understanding the gravity of the situation. And the second thing is there's not enough talk about physically how you really protect yourself. We talk about washing, we talk about hand sanitizers. I think the important part that I'm seeing missing on most conversations is that you do self-limit yourself to being outside, and you completely isolate yourself from everybody until this thing has gone on the backside of the curve, like we're seeing in China now. So I hate to be, a doomsayer. Look, if I'm wrong on this, and I hope I am, I'll eat a hat on a video. I will eat a friggin' hat on a video, because I am so convinced, unfortunately, that this information I'm giving you is correct, and that if you practice safe quarantining and be sensible about this, is that you will be okay, and although you might still get it, you'll be on the backside and you'll be fine. To give you some relative numbers here, think of it this way. The population of America being about 300 million people, about 25% of those people are over the age of 60 or are in poor health. The 1% that we're talking about for the death rate is the whole population. The death rate for the people who are my age is more like somewhere between 5 and 10%, depending on what your frailty is. If we lost 10% of the people who are over 60, that's 70 million people. 7 million people would die. And that's because crap happens here. If it happens over here, that 7 million people may just become something like a bad flu season, which can be up to almost 100,000 people die. Still a big number, but it's just so completely different. This thing is not like the flu. It is at least 10 times worse. It is definitely a lot more infectious. And remember, you've been through a lot of flu seasons, you had vaccinations available, and you have never seen anything like this. And although it seems like it's baloney, I promise you, if you could go to a hospital in New York right now, and you would see how far underwater they are, and the absolute anguish that this is causing, you would practice this right away. And if you don't practice this now, remember, the disease doubles infections in every 2 days. What appears to be not a big deal today is a big deal within 2 weeks, and it will infect you within a week. Don't get infected. Be safe. Care about your older folks. If you want to see them at Christmas time, I'm sure they give you nice Christmas presents. I'm sure they'll do it double fold if you'll keep them alive. So please, be smart. You're going to be self-imposed lockdown whether you like it or not. So be smart about it, and everybody can survive this thing. We're going to survive it one way or another. We just don't want to lose 10% of our whole population. Look, you need me for your dog breeding. You need my advice. You need my help. You need to make sure I stay alive. Thanks for watching the video. Be safe, and good luck to everybody. Bye.